What's going on, fellow Maplers? The Chaos Ring is available for one more week as a part of the Momentree Event reward shop, live in-game through June 13th. By popular request, I'm back for just one more ring video to tell you everything you need to know in order to make the best decision for your account. But before I get started, I'm gonna roll a d20 on Charisma and holy shit! First try at 20? That means you have to choose Chaotic Good today. Like and subscribe to support the channel. I swear, that wasn't my 17th roll. The Chaos Ring offers similar stats to other top event rings with 30 all-stat, 20 attack, and 3000 HP and MP. Unique to this ring, it offers you the ability to cube itself up to 10 times a week, resetting on Mondays, up to a maximum of unique potential. You can do this indefinitely until you have the stats you want. It just takes time. The last thing of note about this ring is, like most of the other event rings, you can get 3 lines of free rare potential. These benefits come at a steeper price, however, of 3,500 event coins. So let's start building a case for this ring. The Chaos Ring has the potential to be amazing. A bit of a pun, but seriously, for no investment, this ring can have solid base stats with up to 27% main stat unique potential lines. Realistically though, 21% is more obtainable as it doesn't require 3-line prime, which has lottery level odds. Just 3-line useful stat, which has low odds, but definitely attainable over a long period of time. Doing some napkin math on my Adventure Deep Dark Critical Ring video, I estimated there would be 6 combinations out of the 816 total combinations that give you 3 lines of useful stat of 18% or higher. This did not take into account anything like prime line odds, and it's probably off by a bit, but as a reminder, it doesn't need to be perfect to get the point. That's about 1 in 136 rolls, which would take on average 14 weeks, or about 4.5 months. This is pretty important to note because I feel like it narrows the range of which accounts would benefit from this. I've been advising the use of these event rings on Link, Legion, and Boss Mules, but I think this ring is most effective on Boss Mules. Characters you literally only log in once a week to get some extra income for your account. On that login, you could just re-roll before you start your boss runs till you finally land on those lines you want. Might take a while, but there's very minimal actual playtime invested, and eventually it would be a zero investment ring with incredibly solid stats to help you clear bosses faster. The main downside of this ring is the 3,500 event coin cost. It will take several play sessions or diverting event coins from the mole and puzzle minigames that could be spent on other rings, the dolphin minigame, and growth items across your characters. If you have the time or are focusing on boosting a couple of specific boss mules, this ring is a good option. There is one thing that I think this makes the ring a hands down must buy, and that's for regular server players where cubes cost actual dollars. I don't know the actual cube upgrades, but looking at some cube simulation data from quick Google searches, it looks like it takes about 25 red cubes or 15 black cubes to go from rare to unique on average. I think this is a fair ballpark based on the anecdotal experience that I've had, so I'm just going to run with that. To make it easy, I'll say red cubes are $1 and black cubes are $2. So, at a minimum, this saves you $25 right off the bat because you can get unique for free. Not only that, but it saves you the extra $136, just that 1 in 136 chance, of rolling 3 useful lines on average. Essentially, if you are spending money on cubing up your items for useful stat, it will save you $160 in total for a ring slot that is pretty functional. This doesn't take into account that if you used actual cubes, you would get to legendary, but it's just a few percent in stat at the point versus $160. I feel like I don't need to say much more here, except beg you to switch to reboot if you play the regular server. I can't imagine paying this amount of money on all your items. I'll admit, I don't fully understand the regular server. I don't play it, but goddamn, my wallet is crying in the club right now just thinking about it. Alright, with that out of the way, let's look at a couple ring comparisons to help you out. I'll address the main contender, the Adventure Deep Dark Critical Ring. I made a full video on this if you want a more in-depth analysis, but I'll provide the conclusions here. The Chaos Ring has an additional 10 all-stat and a marginal amount of HP MP increase. Not a big deal, so let's compare their main features. The Chaos Ring has a reasonable potential to get 18 or more useful stat after about 4.5 months of waiting on average. The Adventure Deep Dark Critical Ring, however, comes with 5% critical damage already, which I calculated for my hero boss mule to be about 19% worth of primary stat. Pretty much on equal playing field in terms of benefits in the long term. However, I haven't even talked about the 15% critical rate yet. If your character does not naturally cap critical rate, you can benefit from this feature. To look at the benefit, you have to look at what you can now replace with the additional stat. In my other video, the simplest example was I took the 10% all stat Xenon Link skill instead of a critical rate Link skill and 5 additional Legion board slots to put wherever I want. The value here is really that there's now flexible options to round out your character. Now, taking into account the Xenon Link skill with the critical damage, the critical ring is essentially a 29% stat ring with 5 extra Legion blocks for boss damage or IED. I'm assuming you will already be maximizing crit damage in the Legion. For the next point, I'll humor people that say you can't get potential on the critical ring for a second. The Chaos Ring can get legendary lines, which includes the all-valuable Meso and Drop lines. Wait, never mind, fuck off. This defeats the whole purpose of the ring. Why are you investing in this ring? At that point, you're just paying Mesos for a ring with the base stat on it, which you can do with the other cheaper event rings. For Meso and Drop, if you play frequently on a character enough to benefit from that in the first place, you would just want to invest in rings that have the upward mobility to get 22 stars. 4 of those rings are readily available in the early game. The Kanna, Meister, and Golix rings. Hell, even the Silver Blossom ring is better, which is an upgrade to these rings if you have the 9-set boss effect. The Garden Angel Slime ring, well, I'd consider it at the start of the mid game, is also a great option. You also have all your other accessory slots that don't drop off as soon as these rings, which you can use for this purpose. Functionally, yes, you could use these rings, but why would you waste your time and resources on a ring that you know drops off when you can choose obviously better options very soon after? Alright, so that's for mains or characters you want to play longer. Let me address the whole Link Legion boss meals. No, I won't accept that you need drop rate. How many billions of Mesos do you want to invest on all those legendary lines that don't help you clear any faster? You want to put as little Mesos into a boss meal as possible to make it functional. The whole point is to get more Mesos to progress the characters you want to play long term. You're going down a rabbit hole of lateral progression that doesn't benefit your account overall. If you enjoy playing that way, entirely cool. That's great. All the more power to you. But that is just not good advice for people that are trying to experience the whole of MapleStory, which is the mid and late game. If you're just diverting Mesos into useless stats, it'll hinder that progress. Alright, got a little heated there. Finally, let's do our usual comparison of the Chaos Ring to 17-star rings, because they're not that far off. Let's take a quick look at the Kanna ring. At 17 stars, the Kanna ring offers about 30 more stat, but a couple less attack and very little HP and MP. To reiterate points from my other videos, the Kanna ring is obviously better. More stat and the ability to get to 22 stars is hard to argue with. However, you have to invest Mesos to get to 17 stars and need the greater time investment of farming prequests and weekly boss clears until it drops. For the Chaos Ring, you do still need to get those free rerolls over a period of time, but effectively it is very little time spent actually playing. Therefore, the accessibility of the Chaos Ring is much better. It also costs nothing to reroll for the additional stat percentage. This could save billions in Mesos to do the same on the alternative ring. Finally, it's still a significant upgrade to rings you would already have access to up until this point, so still worth it. Moving on, let's address who should buy this ring. For the Chaos Ring, I think the use case is a bit more narrow, specifically down to boss mules. This is because you need the week over week recurring play to reroll stats and fully realize the value of this ring. While Legion and Link meals could certainly benefit from this, they would be better off filling slots with cheaper alternatives to help one-shot mobs like the other event rings. So, who is it not for? Even though the stats are good, it's still not mid to end game. The Chaos Ring has a bit more longevity to it compared to the other event rings, and can probably act as a damage ring until the early mid game, where you start to invest in greater than 17 star force beyond your gear that is easy to get duplicates of. As with all the rings, don't dump your resources in them, but take advantage of them for what they are. A cheap early game power boost. Now let's address the big question. Should you buy the Chaos Ring? For regular server, yes. If it saves you money, that's a 10 out of 10 in my eyes. For reboot, yes for boss meals, and as cheap boost into early game content if you're new. Personally, I have bought this on a couple of my boss meals, but nothing beyond that. If you made it all the way to the end, I just wanted to say, seriously, thank you for all the support and engagement on the videos. It still blows my mind how so many people seem to enjoy and want to engage with these topics. While I definitely will push back and joke about people that have conflicting views, it's all good natured to me. I love to debate things I find interesting. Thanks again for sticking it out to the end. You're the real MG.